All right, so if you watched the video on doing the barn, you know that it started raining pretty hard. And honestly, I just kept getting soaked every time I'd walk through one of the big drips. It's not like the whole barn leaks, it's just it drips everywhere. So you know that I decided to come back in here and we're gonna keep cranking away on this. And if you watched the first part of this video, part one, then you know that we gotta take this stuff off the walls. As pretty as it is, I need flat surface on the wall for those French cleats, French cleat storage stuff we're gonna put up on the wall as we go. And I'd like to have a flat surface to put the new shelves and bench. And so even though the shop still looks like a disaster, obviously, really nothing has changed with all of this and everything here on my workstation and table. And I have a dozen projects I have to work on this week. This kind of takes precedent because we're gonna be building storage shelves into those, right? And drawers and things like that I can put some of these smaller things that do get to stay in here or move from other parts of the shop so that I can clear up other spots in this set of work tables that I'm building. So as I build those, I can clean up this mess, and I can't really clean this mess up until I have somewhere to put this stuff. So I gotta get this built, and this is also where the scroll saw is gonna go and where the bench stand is gonna move over to, so then I can be using that station, even if a lot of the garage isn't perfectly clean, to start building at least the sign, clean up more, and then, because then that'll use some of the wood in the barn, so then I'll have more space out there. And then we can also start working on the wraparound for that freezer. The freezer wraparound isn't the most important thing. Getting a sign done and stuff to go on the tables is the most important. And then the freezer is like I really, really want to have this done before our first market this Friday or Saturday. But if I don't get it done, it's not like it's the end of the world. I could, worst case scenario, take a bunch of measurements, build it, take that there, and put the freezer in it, because the freezer goes into it. Nothing is really attached to the freezer except maybe the lid, and that'll probably be with like two-sided sticky tape or Velcro, in case I ever need to take that off and service the freezer or get rid of it and buy a new one that fits in that. So, all right, let's start tearing into this wall. I'm gonna go ahead and throw you guys on the timeline. All right, so we've got all that off the wall. Just pulled nails out of all the cedar parts, primarily because I want to use, I decided, taking the gloves off, I decided not to take that all the way over. That instead, since that bench is gonna go up to that window, and I really can't go past that green box because the climbing wall to remove that tin, that it was gonna look funny wherever I ended it besides at the window. So I'm gonna throw a piece of trim on that matches. It's just one of the pieces of trim from the bottom, up and along that edge. There we go. There. And up there on the top, following along the metal. So then that'll kind of look nice. The workbench doesn't start till there anyways, so that I have tons of room to get back and forth in between it and the green box. Yeah, so then we're good with that corner. I had been thinking, I do still need to take out, you know, the top piece and the faux beam and the lights. But currently those lights are my only lights in here. So I can't go crazy just tearing those out or I'll have no lights. Not without installing some new ones. And it seems kind of crazy to install new ones until I'm ready to remove that drywall, you know? So we're gonna hold off on that. I'm at least to the point here now with the wall where I can start building at least the bench that goes on this wall, and start throwing on a few drawers, and because that'll be part of the bench, and put on the scroll saw. And with that clears up a lot of the mess from around here, and allows me to start working on that signage. And then as time goes on here, I'll keep moving my way in through the rest of the shop. You'll just keep seeing that as shop updates. Of course, there'll be a video. It's like almost 7 o'clock right now, so I'm gonna call it an evening, go in and make dinner, edit all these videos. I guess one last thing, I had started to pull the screws out of the pallet wood too. And then I kind of got to thinking as I was pulling them out that, like, that's a waste of my time, to be frank. None of them were nice pallets. It wasn't like I salvaged really good ones. It was just like we had dinner, we had the new season of dinners within a couple days. And so we were like, oh man, we got to get this looking nicer than a garage. Because in the first year that we did our farm to table dinners, we just did it in our garage, like a normal garage, like roll up garage door garage. And then after the second season, they did really, really well that way, and people were still bragging on it, even though it was a garage. So we were like, okay, well, we should make it look good for the next one because we want to do better, and we're going to charge more. So that's when we walled it in, and then did that side wall. We had big rolling barn doors to hide all stuff on the shelves back there behind you, where we had the dog food and climbing holes I talked about. We didn't have climbing holes back then, but we had it in the pallet wall. So it was just like slapdash 2 weeks, get this entire space renovated, and did, and people loved it. But now we're doing different things. So, so anyways, none of these pallets are really worth saving. I would rather it's all hardwood and it's perfectly dry, burn it either in my wood stove or in our fire pit. As it starts getting into fall, we'll start having a fire pit in the backyard, and enjoying that when we can't enjoy our pool anymore. And then I can either yeah, honestly, I was gonna say I'd run a magnet through to pull out the nails out of the ashes and coal, but that's silly. I'll just dump it in the willow coppice that's in the backyard. We almost never graze that, so I'm not worried about a nail getting in someone's hooves. The dogs do go play back through there, but it is so muddy because it's where the septic leach lines are. And honestly, the septic just needs resolved at some point, but it's what is that now? 70-year-old septic system. So I'm not messing with it. That's why we planted the willow coppice. You're not supposed to plant willows in your septic leach lines, but ours is the dome shape style. So it's just the corrugated piping, and it's like 2 foot across corrugated domes, and it leaches into that and dissipates. So it's not like most people's. Theirs are the PVC pipe or the corrugated that's only like this big, and so the willow roots will go into the holes that are in the sides and fill that whole space, and stop it from leaching out the moisture, because it's just the water that goes out. The rest of it breaks down in the tank. I'm not worried about it with that. It's apparently never worked anyways. Neighbor said when we bought the house that it was always out like that. It's not something I care about fixing. I would rather grow willows in that nutrient dense area than fix that and it just be grass. So yeah, we'll just dump anything that has the nails there. Sometimes we'll burn hardwood flooring and stuff like that in the wood stove. You shouldn't, it's bad for the creosote, but our chimney's so simple, I clean it myself. So I clean it 2 or 3 times a season anyways to make sure there's no creosote buildup. So I'm not worried about those nasty chemicals building up in my chimney and catching a house fire, because I clean the chimney routinely. I realize now that we're at like 6 minutes of me talking, so let's wrap this up. If y'all like these videos and you want to continue to see how this space is developing, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you don't care about how the space is developing and somehow you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you, and I hope you have a good life. But beyond that, You know, if you like the video, hit like. If you do want to notice when this is happening, hit subscribe. And comment what you want to see more of. If you've got ideas for the thing, for the shop here as I'm going, or you just have questions about what we're doing and why I'm doing all this renovating in here, feel free to drop that in the comments. Let me know. I'm happy to answer. I try to respond to, I have responded to every comment so far, and I will continue to try to do so, even when we hit a few thousand subscribers, if that ever happens. Cross the fingers, right? Y'all have a good rest of your week.